as Sen from Team Gamma Bears is the blue Zerg in the bottom right corner. Sen, of course, was here for the Sunday Showdown, and Sen is just a really fun, lovable guy. But also, Danny Sherlong, the green Zerg in the top left from Root Gaming, is also very lovable, very good too. And one thing that I always really appreciate about ViBe 2 is that he's very realistic with his self-assessment of the game. I remember back when he was on like Energy and Six Jacks, he would always be like, man, I'm just so bad. I remember talking to the vendor, he was like, man, I'm so bad. Like, if I improve this, I think I could be a top like 40 player. Because a lot of people are like, if I fix this, I could fix this, I could win tournaments and whatnot. But ViBe's like, man, even if I fix this, I think I can be like a top 40 player. So he's a really humble guy, and I like him a lot. But you've also worked with him personally. Do you have any funny anecdotes about that?
He's very hardworking.
That's true. That too.
He only trains on the Korean server. He trains there rigorously. And a lot of his strategies are obviously developed based on the Korean scene. Sen is the same way as well. He only trains on the Korean server. He does play for Team Gamma Bears. But on Gamma Bears in Taiwan, there's no real opponent to Sen. I would say not even on the team. Like out of every single team in the Taiwanese esports league, there's just nobody that can stand up to Sen. So he only plays on the Korean server as well. Obviously, ViBe will experience a little bit more lag, but it's important to note just because they have the same training grounds.
It's true, and in fact, they might even have run into each other on ladder. But I wouldn't know necessarily unless you've been able to watch their streams. Nevertheless, some interesting statistics for you guys that are watching. Sen statistically has his best matchup as ZVZ at 67%. ViBe struggling a little bit more on the other end. He's got 40.5%. And hasn't really been on that good terms with ZVZ, but he's been winning some games in the past history, especially in like the EG Masters Cup. So he's capable of doing. And ZVZ, I remember one time we were casting that show match of the Gosu Roundtable, Andre together, and ViBe had some pretty good moments in ZVZ, but it's still a pretty hard matchup for ViBe specifically because he says that sometimes he just loses control of his units.
Yeah, and obviously ZVZ can be very volatile if you lose the slightest bit of control, especially with Zergling, Baneling, Micro, and that is normally the crux of the beginning stages as you are defending against a slew of different, pushes and also scouts. That's the most important thing, but both these players are basically mimicking each other.
Yeah.
They have the same exact build, so that's why there's nothing much to talk about just yet. What it focuses around is getting out your metabolic boost super early so you can start scouting your opponent. Well, I shouldn't say super early, just early for the fast expansion.
Mm-hmm.
And you actually make some gut calls in the beginning. Do you say, I want to mine more gas and potentially get a Baneling nest? Or do I want to just cut it completely and revolve around just a high larva usage and having Zerglings very relevant on the map?
Well, both players are keeping 3 drones on gas after a metabolic boost has been started. And ViBe squeezed out an extra, Sen squeezed out an extra drone or 2, but as a result his gas was delayed. That's pretty much the only variation. And Sen's not bad ZVZ. We saw him play ZVZ as well in this division and do pretty decently. Especially when he was playing against TLO and some other people. So I think Sen has shown that he has rock solid control and he's able to really squeeze in drones at ZVZ in times we don't think he can. But that's always been Sen's trademark, playing very greedy. You can see right now 8 drones coming in all at once. And he's going to drone in huge waves. He's now starting to catch up to ViBe, who was up in the 30s for a while, but that's kind of Sen's style. So keep that in mind as the early Ling Bane stages are occurring.
Does look like there's a slight lead in that Baneling nest for ViBe, but the fact that he doesn't have units all the way over on his opponent's side doesn't mean he has any specific timings where he can hit before his opponent gets some Banelings. Of course, you need to, or you want to actually start merging Banelings on your opponent's side because Banelings are, a lot slower than Zerglings, so you just don't want to, increase the amount of time connecting to your opponent's base. 2 Banelings will be, no, 6 Banelings, excuse me, will be morphed over here. And it looks like defensive banelings are morphed for Sen. So
Yep.
he should be theoretically safe with a Spine Crawler and 2 additional queens.
Yeah, Sen is making another additional pair of banelings. Now, the reason why is because 2 banelings can always trade for any amount of banelings as long as you detonate. At the same time, it's going to come down to very precise control. And Sen trying to see if he can get to the Zerglings. And the banelings from ViBe are running ahead of the pack. Trying to go straight for the drones. And the Zerglings run straight into Sen's banelings. And only 1 managed to detonate. Sen has an incredible amount of low health drones. And at the very end of things, ViBe is pretty behind in workers. Look, both about to have a double-digit drone influx, but Sen is the one who stays ahead.
That was brutal. If you look at the units lost tab, 5 for 24.
Oh
Those
my
banelings
God.
didn't connect with anything. And on top of that, all of the Zerglings got mutilated to a single baneling, so that was such a shame. ViBe is going to look to try to come back into this with a very fast third base, but we can already see there is some sort of timing set up. No, okay, well, sort of timing. There's the Roachborn and double evolution chambers coming down for Sen. So he's prepping up for some sort of huge push. Yes, he's getting his 3rd hatchery, but he knows he's super safe. So he can drone a lot, I guess, safer than his opponent can.
Sen made a significantly less amount of Zerglings, and he still even kept some of the banelings. Look at his Spine Crawler, 4 kills, targeting down those banelings, making sure to really minimize the impact it was able to inflict. And as a result, Sen knows that he's ahead economically, so he can go ahead and squeeze an extra upgrade, which can play a huge factor into the mid-game, as long as he's able to really keep his macro up, which should be no problem for Sen. You can see that ViBe's still trying to be aggressive, and a great transfuse. 1 Zergling was trying to pick off a baneling, and Sen with extra energy, really keeping those banes alive, baiting it very well. Look at that. Great control from Sen.
Sen is
Transfuse on the baneling. Wow.
This guy's a
That was so unnecessary, but he did it anyways. Like, he could just run the baneling away.
He's actually the biggest show-off in the world. So ViBe, obviously, well, Sen knows he's ahead. ViBe, he's still behind. He has to look for some way to get back into this. Now, he is hiding roaches over here. He's not opting to saturate this. No, he's not. So he's not going to saturate it. He just wants to use this as a pseudo macro hatchery. Of course, it could transfer into some sort of expansion base, but now he's looking to surprise his opponent. Unfortunately for him, Sen is already making roaches. He has superior upgrades, and both of them have glial reconstitution. So I don't see any, explicit advantage for ViBe at this point. It's going to be very difficult for him to get things done with this roach pack.
61 drones to 52. Sen is currently the one that's ahead.
Of course.
And that was an accidental ping on my behalf. I'm sorry. You know what? Diablo also ruined my life because I'm so used to pressing Alt and then I click on the mini-map and then it scrolls me accordingly, so I apologize for that. Sen is moving across the center of the map. Now keep in mind he does have +1/+1 geared up, and with that he's going to have his roach speed slightly faster, and that +1 carapace might keep his roaches a little bit alive just a little bit longer. Nonetheless, the macro advantage in roaches does go to ViBe right now because Sen has a lot in production, and some are just popping out, so Sen actually has to fall back at this point.
Yeah, it looks like Leo Reconstitution will barely finish for Sen over ViBe, so he will be able to get out of there no matter what, but it doesn't look like there's even going to be chase. ViBe is going to go down to this 3rd location, but look at how secure Sen is. He just needs to waddle all of his units all the way over, and he will be okay.
Yeah, ViBe keeps track on where the army is with that changeling, but Sen has just an crazy amount of roaches. Look at how many more Sen has, and ViBe knows that this is not exactly the position he wants. He's going to try to set up a better concave. Sen kind of jam-packed in. Some of the roaches are not fighting, but Sen has more coming in, and you can see that Sen's creep also allows him to reinforce very quickly. ViBe immediately pushed back. Sen takes a very convincing lead. Yep,
and 22 roaches in queue right now. We can really see the advantage from that early game stage with the banelings exploding on those Zerglings, and obviously keeping him safe with his drone pump come into effect. That whole advantage that he had, the economic advantage that he took from that, is being shown right here with just an alarming amount of roaches over his opponent. And not only that, superior upgrades. It's just he has more stuff, it's more developed. That's what it comes down to. And the supplies show it. Income tab shows it. Everything shows it.
Yeah, and those things just compound over time in terms of giving your economy, but ViBe going to try to see if he can assault the third again. Sen directly attacking into the concave. A lot of his roaches are still attacking, though, and ViBe, he doesn't have +2 finished either, which will give him a very small timing window. Nonetheless, Sen has just so many roaches compared to his opponent, and ViBe immediately pushed back yet again. Now, ViBe also attacked before Burrow was able to finish, which could also play a key factor. If ViBe waited just a few more seconds, who knows? The outcome could have changed drastically as roaches with +2 hit very hard.
Now Hydras are on the way out. That's going to put the nail in the coffin. Both these players actually, I think, does ViBe have a Hydra Den? No, he doesn't have a Hydra Den.
No, he doesn't.
So Roach Hydra with superior numbers against roaches.
Yeah.
I don't think we even need to, analyze that. That's a very easy battle for Sen.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And the big thing is that Sen's been able to keep his third saturated this entire time. ViBe now starting to put drones on the mineral line at his third. And not just the minerals, but the gas. Sen's been on 6 gas for a while. That's why he's able to afford Hydras and +2/+2 and still maintain all of his macro. And you can see that this is where things start to compound and where Sen's able to really snowball his advantage and just playing very good and maintaining his lead. Sen trying to move in towards his 4th expansion and keep tabs on his opponent. He sees that Tunneling Claws has finished, so he knows exactly what his opponent is capable of. ViBe is going to borrow some of his roaches, try to see if he can do a tactical maneuver, maybe even catch some units on the flank and make sure to hit the Hydras. But at this point, he's just going to run back home and send this as a task force to go hit the natural.
Yeah, hopefully he can get some good trades and he'll be A-okay, but the roaches are actually going to unburrow. Kind of weird spot to unburrow.
Yeah, he tried to pick off some of the units, the reinforcing units, because Sen is anxious to push here out the natural of ViBe. ViBe has a fantastic concave, but can he deal with these 2/2 Hydras and Roaches? There are a lot of DPS coming in from our blue Zerg. Sen frantically trying to reinforce, but is getting cut off by these Roaches. ViBe doing a great job there, so he just has to win at his natural, but he doesn't have enough units. GG! Sen takes game number 1 on Odyssey with fantastic macro decision-making and great timings.
Hydras are nice and tucked away in a pocket right there. The Roaches were being, I would say, the linebackers in that situation.
Yeah.
And really keeping the quarterbacks, which were the Hydralists, very safe, very well played.
You don't know football, man.
No, I don't.
Yeah, the Hydras are quarterbacks. I'm like, dude, there's only one on each team.
Well, you know what I'm talking about.
Like,
you always
quarterback
get
would be like the mothership. You only can have one per game, man.
Yeah, but those things stick
at a
out,
time.
man.
If your mothership goes down, you can bring in another one. You can bring
It's
a
the
backup
whole idea of the
quarterback.
pockets, though.
Okay,
How do you
fair
like
enough.
the
That's true.
pockets?
Yeah,
It's the
they're under
pockets.
heavy fire. But regardless, guys, we want to thank Epson. They probably know football better than Andre, but they also make projector. They're the #1 projector brand worldwide. Check them out at Epson.com. We'll be back with game number 2 between ViBe versus Sen. Can ViBe make the comeback, or will Sen get the win 2-0 and break the tie convincingly? Find out after this break.